What's going on, y'all? This is Low,
This is Key.
and it's Low Key.
Hi, y'all. Today we're going to talk about overthinking and how that plays a big part in our daily activities. So, first we have to understand what overthinking is. Because sometimes we can get that confused with just thinking regularly. But when you overthink, you think of a specific thing or idea or thought over and over and over again. And that leads to depression, you get stressed, anxiety, and relationship conflict. Um, and I think sometimes overthinking, we think that comes from a good place, but I think it does, but when we don't find a solution to the problem.
What you mean when you say it come from a good place?
We're trying to find a solution to a problem when you overthink. Um, but I think there's a difference between overthinking and deep thinking. I think when you deep think, you find a solution. It's a positive way of thinking. When you overthink, you're creating problems from a problem or from a thought. And then you start to worry. And whenever we worry, then majority of the time we're coming from a place of fear, unknown. Uh, so I think when we overthink, we blow things up to be something big when naturally all we need to do is find a solution and move on to something else. We spend a lot of time thinking about one particular thing. And then a lot of times that causes us not to be able to sleep. And we really overthink. We think and we think and we think. And then we use that strategy for everything. And I think when we overthink, we come from a place of trying to control the situation. I know sometimes I do that, and I go into a fix-it mode where I try to fix the problem before a person even have time to even get it out.
Yeah. And that's like, especially if you're looking for a partner and you know that you a deep thinker, even on day-to-day menial tasks like I am. It's good that you have a partner that could pull that out. Like, that's what my wife is good at unclogging thoughts and taking action on those thoughts, because that's all it is. You stagnant because you inundated with thoughts. You overthinking about the smallest of things when you just gotta make a decision, especially business opportunities. Even the small day-to-day stuff, you could find yourself, you could miss deadlines, this and that, because you so deep into the thought and what is, that you end up not even making a decision. And that is the root cause of disease.
Oh, yeah.
It's the stagnation of thought.
Exactly. And because we're stressing about that particular thing, that thought that we're having. And majority of the time the thoughts we're having is not even relevant. Like it hasn't happened in reality. We're just thinking about, well, if I don't do this, then that's gonna happen. You're thinking the worst outcome. And then I think when you do that, you attract it to you. And even worse, because you built momentum.
Get even worse. Get even worse. And it's so crazy, like, how many thoughts have you had that turned into worry that never happened? Straight up, like, if you was to actually jot down all of the things that you was worried about a particular outcome, and that thing never happened because you took some sort of action.
Yep.
Like, you just took the action and it altered the outcome. So I think we literally take days, months off of our lives through overthinking and letting it turn into worry, and therefore turning into a disease through the lack of taking action. You know, you got something?
Yeah, so you could think about a thought that you've had previously, and you know that a decision had to be made, but because that's the thing that you do all the time, you overanalyze it, you overthink it, it becomes a habit, and then we use that strategy for everything that we do, and then when we do that, we stress ourselves out, and then we, get headaches. You go through a series of things that happen, and you get depressed. You're angry. So, I think one way that
It
I
just
know
go
of,
all the way backwards.
yeah,
What's the way, baby?
one way I think I know of that can help with that is schedule you a time where you can think about whatever it is that you need to think about, find a solution, and move forward. Like, leave it there, make a choice, make a decision, and move forward and focus on other things, because it's not worth it. It really is. It's not worth it. It's not worth sitting there wrecking your brain. It makes you feel bad. I know when I overthink, it makes me feel horrible. I just feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Because it turns into idling. And then when you really, it's one thing when you idling, when you just sitting around not doing nothing. But when you idling because you indecisive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for most people, they cool with it. But for those with a direction, indecision is the root cause of disease, I feel.
Yeah.
Right, and it goes back to the lack of action. So you gotta act on it. You gotta make your decision based on whatever knowledge that you have. Don't just make dumb decisions. And then you act on it and you stand on that decision.
Yeah.
Good or bad. You know?
Because you could tell a result is going to come from what you do. So your action. So you know pretty much what's going to happen by what you've already done.
What you mean?
So you know if you presented with a thought, the thought stemmed from something. So if you presented with a thought, then that happened because the lack of something, because you worried about it. So in order to handle that situation, all that needs to happen is another action. That ends it, that stops it right there. Now, what the action may be is something that you would have to figure out. But when you sit there and you keep overanalyzing the worst scenarios, the worst situations, that's what's going to happen. Because it's law of attraction. What you put out, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, you thinking about, for some reason, we thinking about the worst stuff that's going to happen. And a lot of times, like, we pull it to us. We pull it right to us because that's what our focus is on. It's not on solution-based, actionable items. It's on stress-based, lack of, like, you just focus on lack or being without, depending on what school of thought you come from based on your childhood.
Oh, yeah.
You got something else on the way?
No, so you guys don't overthink. And when you find yourself overthinking, just find just a specific time during the day, schedule that, think about what you need to think about, make an action, find a solution, and move forward.
And don't trip if you feel like you wanted more heat. Like, we got more coming, so Don't be afraid. Don't be worried or stressed out. You know, we coming right back at you with it. Like, comment,
And
and subscribe.
subscribe.
This low,
This is Key.
and we out.